Have you heard the latest Galaxy S7 rumors? They range from weird and wacky to totally plausible. Now, I personally don't like commenting on rumors, but Mobile World Congress is just around the corner and rumors about Samsung's new flagship phones just can't be ignored any longer. So, why do we care about the Galaxy S7? Well, typically, Samsung's flagship launch is the big kahuna, the smartphone launch that most Android faithful are waiting for. Or, to put it in more relatable terminology, Samsung is essentially the Apple of the Android world, and every year we wait with bated breath to see what the South Korean company has done with Android. Sometimes it's a mess, like the Galaxy S4 from 3 years ago, and sometimes it's a bang, like last year's Galaxy S6. What's in store this time around? Let's figure it out together by going through the latest Samsung Galaxy S7 hearsay making the rounds. Samsung's Galaxy S7 could ship with a 12-megapixel camera. The rear-facing camera is one of the most important features on any smartphone, especially on a high-end device. Typically, the best cameras have higher megapixel counts and great low-light performance. Personally, I think everything is just fine with the Galaxy S6's camera sensor, but apparently there's still more to be done. So rather than increase the megapixel count, Samsung's dialing it down and increasing the actual pixel size. That's the news from Evan Blass, aka EVLeaks, who now blogs for VentureBeat. Evan says the Galaxy S7 will have a 12-megapixel camera with an aperture of f1.7. This isn't a bad thing. This means better low-light performance and more detail overall in your photos. It's also possible this will be a Sony sensor that's similar to what's inside the Nexus 6P and 5X. Let's just hope that if this is true, Samsung adds an optical image stabilization because, oh lord, is that a problem on the Nexuses. Yes, there will be an edge. This isn't even a rumor, actually. Samsung basically confirmed on its developer site that there will be a Galaxy S7 Edge, in addition to the regular old flat S7, just like last year. Now, that admission from Samsung is no longer live on the site, but there are screenshots floating around. This one from Forbes shows that there will also be a new software feature called Wide Type Edge Panels, which look like an amalgamation of the Edge's status updates and Microsoft's Live Tiles. This could end up being interesting and helpful, or it could end up being another little Samsung gimmick that no one actually uses. We'll have to wait and see. There may be variants across regions. According to Sam Mobile, which is one of the biggest Samsung news sites on the web, Samsung is planning 2 different versions of its handset for different markets. Now, this is a practice that Samsung has had in place for years. The company typically launches a handset based on its Exynos processor in Asia and other markets, and a Qualcomm-based phone here in the US. Samsung didn't do this last year, though, which surprised and delighted us all. It was our first time playing with the Exynos processor, but it also kept us from dealing with all the drama surrounding the Snapdragon 810. Boy, was that a doozy. This year, the word on the street is that Samsung will return to its old ways and launch an S7 variant with a Snapdragon 820 here in the States, and an Exynos 8 version overseas. The US version may also include 4 gigs of RAM and 32 or 64 gigabytes of storage. Okay, so this is all kind of inside baseball, but consider this as more of a win for Qualcomm. Whereas last year they flubbed with the 810 and its overheating issues. I mean, it was so bad they had to release 2 versions of the SoC. This year they appear to be back in Samsung's favor, which means Qualcomm has resolved its issues. And anyway, benchmarks posted on Antutu show that this next crop of Galaxy devices are going to be super powerful. Now, what about that SD card? Ah yes, the expansion slot. Last year would have been perfect if the Galaxy S6 would have accepted a little extra storage. But Samsung omitted that expansion slot, likely because it just wasn't conducive to the phone's sleek metal design. This year, the Galaxy S7 is expected to launch with a micro SD slot that can take up to 200 gigs of extra storage, at least according to Evan Blass, who we might as well consider our good friend with all the gossip at this point. Anyway, that's insane! But you'll be loving all the extra storage when you're taking all those high-resolution shots of sunsets. There's still so much more to uncover on the Galaxy S7, which Samsung will officially announce at Mobile World Congress on February 21st. I'll be there, and I'll have all my hands on the details. Both of them. So stay tuned to greenbot.com.